Any content provided by our bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, municipality, individual, or anyone or anything.
He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. Welcome to Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. And Jeremy's got his phone off, so let's mute that, Jeremy.
Mute it.
And so we are Jeremy, just check too on your iPad, make sure we're on YouTube. So we are supposedly on YouTube right now. We're having some technical difficulty this afternoon. So I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. Today's date is November the 15th, the year of our Lord, 2022. And I am Dr. Michael Kachmar. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. We are on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Rumble. We're on Twitter. We're on Twitch. And we are also on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
That's right.
And probably some other places that we don't even know about.
Who knows?
So I am again, a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon. This is a medical political show. We try to do a little bit of both. Something to do with politics and medicine. We gravitate towards that. We have our sidekick today, Jeremy.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
So Jeremy is the man on the street.
That's right.
Represents the man on the street. Sometimes the I don't know
sometimes
we don't know what
who
you
knows
are.
I am. Yeah, who knows?
We got that's right. We got another shot at Jeremy right here. Wave to everybody. So, what do we want to talk about today? We have a lot of things to talk about. There's a lot of things we're not going to talk about, but let's go to our whiteboard, our famous whiteboard.
I just took a glance over there. Holy cow!
Right. So the whiteboard we wrote some things down here. So we talk abortion after 15 weeks. We're going to talk about abortion again. And I notice Jeremy gets not again. You get scared,
a little squeamish about it.
Yeah, because it's a tough one.
It's a hot topic, but it's a very tender one too.
Right. Well, we just want to give you some spoilers. So we got some things here. More uncared for babies? ? More public shootings? ? Angry and legally emboldened white supremacists? And more domestic abusers? ? This is related to an article. It has a lot to do with abortion, but it's a really great piece that I think we need to talk about. Mm-hmm. So what we do here is we go after these articles that are written by these people who are very good writers, and they have a position that we disagree with. That's what's and the definition of liberty, by the way, is the ability. I have liberty, and liberty, if you look at the definition of liberty, especially in the United States, I have the ability to criticize, to say things to different, and I should be able to have a different political view than anybody else.
Of course you should.
So this one is an article here from The Independent.
Yeah.
And go to the my iPad there, please, Jeremy.
Let's check it out.
So let's check it out here. There it is. So let's go here. The Independent. Oh, there's a picture of Trump. And here we go. And this is
Carly Pearson wrote this.
Yes, very nice young lady. She's a lawyer in New York. I sound like Colorado, but I thought she was New York. But anyway, it says the Supreme Court and its Trump-chosen justices is poised to change America for the worse.
Now, what about the ones that were appointed by Biden? Are they still there?
I don't know.
Or are they completely forgotten and they're all provided by Trump?
Well, this was July. So, or there's ones that were put in there by Bush and Barack Obama.
There's one that doesn't know she's a woman. I know that.
Right. But so this is dated Wednesday, July of 2021, Wednesday. But I thought this was a great article to bring up. So it was 2021. It was a while ago. It was Wednesday in July. Mm-hmm. So this is interesting because, we can look at history now, and it's good to go back and see what has happened. But so the Supreme Court, again, and its Trump-chosen justices poised to change America for the worst. Now, this is her opinion. She could write anything.
Oh, I just noticed. This is from 2021.
Yes, 2021,
okay.
July.
Okay.
So over a year ago.
Over a year ago.
But I wanted to bring it up because I think it's a very good article. I had it in my archives, and I just want to look at this because this is really good. And this is right after they had the right. So
I just read ahead, and this is going to be a brouhaha.
Yeah, this is gonna be, so the Supreme Court's conservative supermajority is looking to take away your rights, and they've just gotten started. That's her opinion. I didn't see that anywhere that the justice did you see the justice Supreme Court write an article saying we are looking to take away your rights?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Did
they
you
write articles? I don't even know if they do.
No, they said they're going to take away your rights. I didn't know that. She's saying that. Okay, this is another series of where I tell you, people write these articles. They're stirring up people, and to me, there's also a level of hate in this article if you read it. So listen to this.
Yeah.
A next few cases lining up for the consideration, again, looking especially worrisome to those of the liberal mindset. First, by agreeing to take up Dobbs versus Jackson Women Health Organization, which the court will review the constitutionality of a 2018 Mississippi legislation that bans abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, except in cases of health emergency or fetal abnormalities. And in this case, Jackson's Women Health, right, which is also the only licensed abortion provider in Mississippi, challenged the law. Yeah. And so it's interesting. I just want to go a little bit. It agrees. So ruling that precedent prohibits bans before viability of a fetus. So this is the argument, where the fetus is viable, which happens around 24 weeks of pregnancy. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the 5th District upheld the federal district court's decision, arguing that Mississippi was effectively banning pre-viability abortions. Mississippi appealed the abortion. Now, here's the interesting. I want to find a couple points here, right? This thing about abortion and not abortion. So I know you get a little bit worried about that, but think about this. And a lot of people on the far right, there's no abortion at all.
Right.
And then you got people on the far left, abortion until the baby's born.
Maybe a little after.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, what happened with the middle of the road?
Oh, that brings up a point. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I read something about Canada now wanting to euthanize teens, and they're referring to them as mature adolescents or mature minors. That's what they're calling them, and all they have to do is be depressed, and you're good enough to.
Yeah. Well, that was with Hitler.
Well, that's late term abortion.
Right.
If you want to be critical about it,
you got to understand the Hitler and the Social Workers Party.
Yeah.
They had a Department of Euthanasia, but let's just stay focused here for now. We'll talk about that, and I think that's interesting. But that's where these things go. So here we talk about a ban. 15 weeks. So. I just want to make a point about abortion. It used to be on the Democratic side, the liberal side. Abortion, Clinton said it, rare, and limited. We in Florida, they passed a law. They want to have abortions. They set up to 15 weeks. 15 weeks. Let me look at my whiteboard here. 15 weeks is almost 4 months. Okay, 4 months. Okay, Jeremy, 4 months. That's a long time. Let me just and again, I have no problems about abortion. I think it should be legal, and I think the state should deal with it. And 15 weeks is fine. But in the state of New Jersey, there is no time frame. You could have an abortion anytime you want. And in fact, if you're under 18, you don't even need parents' consent to have an abortion. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Does everybody? I don't know if people understand that. Now, this woman here, I just want to give her a point of reference. Jeremy, just go to me. Just get off the. I want to show. So 15 weeks, okay, and I think that should be the limit. Let me show you guys something, okay, and then just give me a second to pull this up.
If you got small children in the room, ask them to leave.
Yes, don't. This is not for children.
This is not for young eyes.
Put the thing back on.
Okay.
That's a 15-week stillborn baby. That's 15 weeks. Is that a human being?
That's a human
being. I want this woman who wrote this article. That's what you're killing after 15 weeks. That's 15 weeks. Now, look here. This is pictures. Hang on. That's a 15-week. That's 15 weeks, Jeremy. That's 15 weeks.
I'm looking away, buddy. Yeah, this is
Well,
upsetting.
listen, this is what you guys, people who want to get abortions. Now, a lot of abortions are with pills.
I mean, I think these are extremely important to see.
Well, yeah,
Especially if you're.
This is not gross. This is a nice picture here. I mean, this one here, the stillborn
This
is.
one?
Yeah, the one here. I mean, it's not. This is. My point is that look at here. This
But
here.
I see this one on the.
That's different. Yeah, I don't want to look at that.
Yeah, but that is looks more like a casualty of war. That's what that looks like.
Yeah, that's well, that baby right here. That was that's what it looks like. I don't want to gross people out, but this is this is what they look like when you abort them.
Yeah.
They have legs, they have eyes, they're not viable. Sure, they're not viable, but we all have to sit as Republicans, Democrats, liberal, conservatives. What are we doing here? I mean, 200 years from now, somebody can look back and go, I can't believe you used to kill your children. Right. I'm not saying no abortion, women's rights. Yeah. But I mean, remember, there's a man involved, there's a woman, and then there's a child. And I tell you, I'm all about civil rights. I'm all about the 14th Amendment. You have the right to your body, but you know what? You're talking about two other human beings. The father, one, who has rights also, but also this child. I mean, 15 weeks, 18 weeks. 24 weeks. New York State, it's 24 weeks on demand, 6 months, and then after that, if it's with the baby. I think that what's happening here, Jeremy, is that we have to make everybody understand. And I want to just tell this woman here that Carly Pearson, that's what you're killing. And again, I'm okay. I will compromise. I think that abortion, the first trimester, which is the first 3 months, which is what we're basically talking about. Wait, stop. But there's about 30% of babies abort anyway at that time. But what were you going to say?
I was going to say, don't you think that the whole topic of abortion is just for us to excuse away the fact that we don't use the correct contraceptions during our sex?
Yeah,
I think it's just covering up our failures and our mistakes.
Well, that's
what it is.
No, well, I tell you this. No, it's more complicated than that, because here's the thing. First of all,
there are other situations like a child of rape or a child of incest and stuff, but that's
but you just
special circumstances.
But even what you're saying is that, first of all, people are using abortion as a birth control. But you got to understand the origins.
Well, that's what I just said. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're using right, because you're saying lazy, but also abortion is used for political.
Not just lazy. I mean that to cover up for mistakes when we should take responsibility because we didn't use contraception to begin with.
But it's a bigger picture than that, because here's the thing. It becomes a political, and the government gets involved.
If you think we're all responsible, okay, we all take contraception when we're about to make love or whatever you want to call it, and then there's no reason for abortions because you're not getting babies that were unplanned.
But you got to understand, there's a bigger picture here which you're not seeing.
What?
The bigger picture is that I'm going to tell you is when abortion. This woman singer, there was euthanasia. And I think we had a show on this. And I don't want to go too down this hole because we're going to get too far behind. But here's the thing: back in the day, in the 20s, 30s, when Hitler was coming to power, there was a movement in this country and in Europe. It was called euthanasia. Basically, get rid of people who are sick, old. You try to have a master race, and we tried to do it in this country where we tried to have natural selection. So you would basically castrate people who were, not worthy. And she pushed for, when abortion, came out, she pushed for legalized abortion. She was one of the founders of Planned Parenthood. And if you look at some of her writings, people argue back and forth what her motives were. But, to me, when abortion first came out, a lot of people were talking about, used on the black community and the gay community and the people that, we didn't like, to get them out of here and encourage it and give it for free. And so it was some people, and there's arguments about this, that it was used for population control. China, you couldn't have if you had a girl, no, a boy. What was it? They had abortion. You can only have a certain amount of kids, one child. You know, you couldn't have a girl. You know how many abortions, and it's legal there.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, it's a bigger picture. It's people
are
are
saying, but I mean, you're talking about it from.
Well,
you're not talking about every Joe on the street.
No.
You're talking about this person back then.
all right. Yeah, listen, I'll give it to you. It's people lazy. They could take a test, but bottom line is, 15. What she's talking about here, I'm talking about a political movement because, listen to what she talks about. Keeps on going here, because this gets into where it's nasty. The Supreme Court decision to take up this case is especially stomach churning when you consider who sits on it. This is what she's saying. Justice Kavanaugh is an accused rapist. I can't believe she writes this.
Well, that doesn't mean you're a rapist. That means you were just accused by somebody, though.
Well, but why write this? Why write this in an article? And then she says
because people remember the word rapist.
Right.
They
Then
don't
she puts
remember
here
the word accused.
But then she puts here Justice Thomas is an accused sexual harasser. First of all, these two men are sitting on our highest court. These two men are trying to do the best they can. These two men are to her to say that's hate speech. Is that hate speech or is that hateful? Or is that hateful?
It's hateful.
All right. Well, even without those details, the idea that 6 men and just 3 women could overturn landmark decisions on women's bodily anatomy is meddling. What are you talking about? There's 3 women. So what do you want? I mean, even if it was all women. So what's your point there? It's men. Then she goes on to say this, and then she goes, look at the past decisions cast by the Supreme Court justices. Means looking at it means to take the challenge seriously. So let me go.
Well, with that line that she wrote, though, 6 men and just 3 women. She wants that more even. That's what she wants. That's what this is. That's what that was about.
So anyway, my point about abortion and saying this is that, first of all, this is one of those, again, this is one of you listen, she has the right for her point. This woman right here. She could say what she wants to say. That's the First Amendment. But I'm just asking her, first of all, consider that you might be wrong that having an abortion at 25 weeks, that's more of a human being. 15 weeks is pushing it. Okay, but I'll give you that. I'm not against abortion. I understand there's a lot of ramifications. But having said that, please look at these pictures. And also, don't go calling our justices names. And that's terrible. How about respect for the justice?
Still freedom of speech.
It's freedom of speech. And I'm not saying she can't. No, I'm saying she should be able to do it, and she could bring it. I mean, she could say that. But this hurts.
But you bring up a good point. How does this differ from what we get slammed with, like misinformation or disinformation?
Right.
That's what this is.
Right. So then here, let's go. And then there's 3 other cases the court has agreed to review. And they went over this already. This was the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Corlett, which they approved. And Thomas wrote a very eloquent review on it, and he cited the 14th Amendment, which is the amendment for life, liberty, and the pursuit of property, which was a slave amendment. Life. I have the ability. Justice Thomas in the 14th Amendment says I have the right to live. You have the right to live, which means I have the right to protect myself, whatever means possible. The other thing was that the fellows of Harvard College, there was another one too that she didn't mention here, which was Virginia versus the EPA, and the justices threw that back because the EPA is a executive branch entity that has non-elected officials trying to and they could make law, and the justices says no. But if you read here, look what she says here. So here it says, in practical terms, if the court turns these over, that means that if conservative justices take traditionally conservative positions on the issues in front of them, listen what I just said there. In practical terms, that means if the conservative justices, that means constitutional conservatives, take the traditionally conservative / constitutional positions on these issues in front of them. Why are we talking about democracy? Talking about the Constitution, okay? Americans could look forward to more uncare for babies in the foster care system, more child poverty, single mothers, more public shootings, more armed, angry, and legally emboldened white supremacists, and more domestic abusers with easy access to deadly weapons. Whoo! Holy moly. Talk about fear-mongering. Talk about, she should get, that's like, are you kidding me? That's what that means if they do that? How about this? How about abortion, maybe it goes back to the states, which means more people it's closer to the people than the federal government. More people could have their rights, decide whether or not they want abortion. It's not an easy question. We're talking about right now the Supreme Court or maybe the legislation.
Then she revisits the thing that she said earlier when she said just 3 women, and then she doesn't. Then she said
right.
she calls them again with a testosterone
right,
conservative Supreme Court.
Yeah,
this is what it's all really about.
Right. Well, yeah, but but see, here's the thing. We don't care. About gay marriages, I could care less. And they're talking about that now. But what she's saying here is that if they in this position with abortion, no, it's not bad. It's a good thing because you have local, New Jersey or Mississippi, they're going to make their own decisions. As far as the gun law, that gives people more rights. You could protect yourself. If you're a 20-year-old female and a 300-pound guy, 250-pound guy tries to rape you, you ain't going to stop him. You have a gun, you could stop him real quick. Okay? So I think that's important. As far as this other thing here with public shootings, that's bullshit. There's been public shootings. If you look at most of the gun deaths, we talked about this on another show. Most of the gun deaths are suicides. Vast majority of them. Very small percent are public shootings. They make news, but most of that. And then the other thing here is this same old shit she brings up, and I'm sick and tired of this. White supremacist. I don't know who the heck. Where? Show me these white supremacists. Where are they anymore?
If you told me like 10 years ago that this white supremacist thing, supremacist.
There's racist people on both sides.
Do you feel supreme? Mike?
No.
You don't feel supreme at all.
No. And then here, this other thing too is that you're
sitting there sipping a cup of tea. You don't feel supreme?
No, but what I don't feel is sovereign anymore. Like you talked about.
Yeah.
But the thing is about the colleges too. They passed, they're arguing with that right now. And that's like, hey, you know what? This affirmative action, we did it for years, and I don't think it should be done. Like, in other words, it should be merit-based. But again, and then she goes here, without question, these potential cases outcomes spell a giant step backwards for mankind. What?
Stupid.
This woman is, she's a lawyer too. I'm just saying. So now, hope is not lost, however. Now, wait, listen. Help is not lost, however. Yeah, but there's millions and millions of people who think like her. And what we got to do is we don't get nasty with them.
There's millions of people who use this stuff for their
right. But what you do, what you do
platforms.
is you reach out to people like this. And you try to persuade them. So
I'm not going to do that.
Don't say that because you never know. No,
You're
that's
not. You ever try to tell somebody they're wrong, Mike?
Yeah. Well, you're not telling her wrong. I'm just trying to show her a different point of view.
There's no way you can convince that woman without telling her she's wrong.
So listen here. So the issue and others that progress. So these hang on. These issues that progressives face with like you said, testosterone-heavy conservative Supreme Court could be changed by President Biden and a democratically held Congress. Now, here's the fix. In April of this year, Biden issued an executive order to study reforms to the Supreme Court. And that same month, Democrats introduced a bill to increase the number of justices to the Supreme Court from 9 to 13. This would give Biden and Dems a chance to stack the court with more progressive justices, and a threat that has proven successful in keeping conservatives from running road in the past. In 1937, FDR, did that. But Pelosi and other Democratic leaders have said that increasing the number of justices is suboptimal. So what does that mean? The court packing bill is all but guaranteed to fail. There's also the option of changing the term limits, and on and on and on. But she puts down here, judges both the Supreme and inferior courts shall hold their offices during good behavior. This is in the Constitution. So here, bad part. Congress may have to amend the Constitution. Ooh, that's bad. To Article 3, which is dedicated to the judiciary. And it states, the judges, both of the Supreme Court, the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior. And we all know how it is easy to amend the Constitution. So here's the bottom line. I want to make a point. You know, this thing about packing the courts. Here's the thing: the founding fathers. There is no. You could pack the courts. There's no constitutional amendment to say how many justices you have there. But if you, and the only way to do that is probably get rid of filibuster, which is the founding fathers had that. But if you had the Supreme Court and the justices should, balance the power. If you pack the Supreme Court, you will lose that balance of power, especially if the Democrats do it. Now, here's the thing, though. What's going to stop then if the Republicans get in and they pack the court? It's stupid. You know, the courts. And here's the thing. You know, I didn't realize this, but right now, years ago, the Supreme Court, when something came up to them, you know, the country handed them a hot top issue. They had to deal with it. Do you know that Congress passed laws where the Supreme Court now does not have to take a case? They can make a decision, and that's good and bad. But they don't have to take a case, so they could say no. Like with Trump when with the election, they didn't have to take that. They didn't take that case. Anyway, go back to me. I want to clear this up. Sure. So what you're saying, Jeremy, about abortion, two things. You made 2 points. So let's go back to you. You said that you think this woman's here, and I don't want to, her motives, but it seems that, she's she's a little bit about the men. This thing about no man is going to tell me about my body. But I don't want to get personal with her. Here's the thing.
I don't even care about it.
No. But
I think that we're talking about this in some sort of, you take 5 steps back and you look at it and you try to look at it objectively, but it doesn't really take into account the everyday Joe kind of feeling about this. It's all about these politicians, and they figure that they'll.
What's the average Joe? What's the average Joe feeling?
The average Joe is not getting educated about. Like when I was a kid back in high school, when they were talking about abortion, they also moved in a bunch of stuff about contraception, making it more easily available, maybe at the schools or maybe here or there, and being given away for free to try to give these kids an alternative to later on getting pregnant and then having an abortion.
Okay, that's all good. That's all good, Jeremy. I know where you're coming from.
You always dismiss me.
But no. Okay, we've done that. But what about you have Planned Parenthood where they encourage abortions?
Yeah, but it's the little people that are all this stuff is happening to, not these people. It's all these people down here.
What do you mean
and
down here?
Well, down here, they're not being given these opportunities or educated more about it. And then we have all these. When everything was overturned, I saw all these women on a hill twerking in celebration to being able to flush a baby down the toilet.
Jeremy, I see doctors, lawyers. This is a lawyer. I see educated people
that need to be educated.
No.
I'm not talking about the ones that are and have their own political.
Well,
ideas
but people if he's talking about the people like in the inner city who don't have.
The inner city.
What people you talk? Well, I don't understand what you're saying though.
Your
I don't
next door neighbors.
What about
everything?
I don't understand what you're saying.
They need to be given these opportunities.
What opportunities though? I don't understand what you're saying.
Listen, when I was a kid, the schools put into effect these things where we would get contraception more easily. The kids didn't have to pay for it because we're living in a world now where 13-year-olds are getting pregnant. That's ridiculous. We have to start there and build up. We can't just go to the top and look down. That's my point.
Well, why should a kid even do contraception? Well, because in New Jersey, they get pregnant at 13, 14. They don't have to tell their parents.
That's my point.
Yeah.
We start below and build up. We're starting up and looking down, and everybody's already pregnant.
Well, I understand that. But when you have the government, like in New Jersey, saying to a 14, 15-year-old kid, if you get pregnant, just come on in. We'll pay for it. You don't have to get your parents' consent.
But that's the problem, though, because that's where they're going to initially. They're not starting below. I'm talking.
Okay,
to.
well, in school, then that's the parents. But the parent. Well, then the parents need to talk to these kids.
Yes.
But you know what though? No matter.
But now they're making it where they're taking it out of the parents' hands altogether.
Well, let's say we do all of that. In schools, pounded in them, and we still have pregnancy.
Well, you don't know that yet.
Yeah, we will because it's been. You're going to stop. You're going to stop all pregnancy. You're never going to.
No, but I'm going to try to make a dent.
Okay, you'll make a dent.
It needs to be dented.
But we still then have abortion. Should we still have abortion even if you made a dent?
We've always had abortion.
Not to this level.
I'm just saying, not to this level. And why? Right. Because all that other little stuff that we didn't have a problem with years back, have been forgotten. Now it's just like, oh, have an abortion if you're pregnant, and that's not good enough. I'm saying it's got to start somewhere, and it's always at the bottom.
Well, what about
and build
changing?
up.
What about changing the law, Jeremy, where you can't have an abortion after 15 weeks? Is that a good place to start?
Yes, but I got to tell you something. We got here because we forgot all the other stuff, teaching and educating people about responsibilities.
Right. I think that you make a good point where people. It's easy. People don't want to be bothered with the child. They have their business.
What a sad commentary on our civilization you just said there. People don't want to be bothered.
Right.
I mean, that just makes me sick.
I tell you what, I understand your education, but I would look at it this way. If you're having sex, this is what should be told to people. You're having sex, it's an awesome responsibility. Because if you're having sex, either using contraception. I know a lot of people who use.
But you don't know that unless you're educated to believe that.
Listen, let me finish though. I know people over the years, they've used all kinds of contraception and got pregnant anyway. Happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But what are the odds of that? Though?
Pretty high. If you look
pretty high.
If you look at the
condom's going to break almost 75% of the time.
No, but you could still get pregnant. Let's just instead of getting emotional now. But let me finish my thought.
I just don't want to dismiss.
No, I'm not.
Everybody down below.
No, I'm not dismissing anybody down below. What I'm telling you is that people get pregnant. Okay, and what has happened is that there's people. Over the years, they've wanted to, for a lot of different reasons, get rid of the baby. It's so what I'm saying is this: if you're having sex, this is how it should be taught, and this is where we should be going. This is my opinion. It should be that this is an awesome thing that you're doing. There's not going to be open-ended abortion, not until 9 months. It's going to be limited because we are concerned that we're going to try it. We don't want to err on the wrong side. These fetuses might feel things. They're human beings, and I don't think God is really happy what we're doing. I'm a Christian, so I believe from that standpoint we're in it's pretty obvious in the Bible in places you should not be killing people. I don't even like the idea of killing anybody anywhere. So now what you have is you say to these people, we got a limit, and as a society. We have a limit, and you could be tested, you could be on birth control. We should be doing all of that. I agree with you. And then if you do get pregnant, as a society, we say
that's what I was trying to say.
As a society, we're saying no.
There's more than one way to get these things done, and you have to do multiple things. That's all I'm saying.
Well, if you're
we
saying
can't put all our eggs in one basket and hope that the laws are going to change or it's going to be.
No, but if you say to me,
start with the people on the street that are having these babies.
But it sounds to me like what you're saying is it doesn't matter if there's an abortion limit at 15 or 20. We should don't even worry about that. It should be more. We should be educating people.
No, Mike. See, that's what you're saying. That's what you're not understanding me. I'm saying that I believe everything that you're believing too. But that can't be the only one-sided way of seeing things.
Right.
We have to see them on multiple levels. Otherwise, nothing happens.
Right.
Nothing's ever going to happen or change.
Right. Well, the point
you have to have several groups working at it in tandem.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
At the same time, on so many different levels.
But what do you say to this woman who wrote this article? That's the whole idea of this discussion. I brought this article up. What do you talk to these people?
I think she's entitled to her opinion. Do I agree with it? No, I don't. I think she's wrong. I think mostly that whole article is about her dislike that there isn't an even amount of women on the Supreme Court than there are men, and she's using the Supreme Court, to prove her case.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Well, listen.
The abortion
my point about that is that first of all, these babies at 15 weeks, I think that you're pushing the envelope. We had a couple shows about abortion.
Yeah,
and we're not.
You shouldn't be getting an abortion at 15 weeks. You shouldn't be getting.
Well, no, after
9 months, you shouldn't be getting them.
Well, you shouldn't. But
all I'm saying is let's try to get them before they're pregnant.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
We need to put more work into that because I haven't heard shit about that.
No. Well, it's just like with drugs. Just, instead of saying no, just say no.
Yeah,
K-N-O-W.
NOW. See, but it's convoluted, isn't it? It hides
No,
what it's trying to mean.
There's allegations that Planned Parenthood encourages abortion.
Yeah.
They go into communities, and it's funny because back in the day when I was younger, abortion was looked at as a bad thing. That it was the man, the government wanted to wean down the population, like you were talking about euthanasia. In Germany, people should go back, and in the United States, they were sterilizing people, who they didn't like.
That's what I was going to bring up too about the Nuremberg trials and is what Canada's thinking about.
Well, even before, if there's a lot of movies, you could go back or read the history. In Nazi Germany, they had the Department of Euthanasia. In the United States, it's called eugenics. And the woman who founded Planned Parenthood, there's arguments back and forth. Some people say, they took her, at it, but she. What she thought about abortion was a tool for birth control, and it was a good way for birth control. It's always been about birth control. Like you said, talk about when they're young, abstinence, just say no, all kinds of things. Yeah, that's part of it.
See, now, I wonder about that woman who did create all that. What would she have thought seeing those women up on that hill twerking in celebration? I mean, would she still feel the same thing, or would she see that what she was talking about back then has been grossly abused?
I think
today?
Well, I don't know what she would think, but I can tell you right now, that's what she wanted. She wanted.
Do you see my point, though?
Yeah,
I mean, times change, views change. And that's where I'm at. I'm in a world that I didn't grow up from.
I think what maybe you're saying is that what's happened is that abortion has supplanted, has superseded all kinds of birth control. Don't worry about it. Just have sex, unprotected, whatever you want to do.
But I agree with everything you were saying.
And if you get pregnant,
also,
right? If you get pregnant, don't worry about it. And then
I feel like we need I don't know, groups to pushing this stuff, because when I was a kid, we talked about contraception all the time.
So I go like this. I say to with this 15-week, like in Florida they have it. In New Jersey it's open ended. So the argument is, well, why can't you have it at 15 weeks? Because you should know by then. Now, if you don't know, if you're having sex, you should test yourself. And then after that, as a society, we're saying no, because these fetuses are very well along. You're killing a human being. Now, the other argument is, Mike, what difference does it make? Some people don't know. I said the morality of this. Forget about feasibility of the fetus. Because some people say at 6 months you could have a baby. Unbelievable amount of technology. But maybe one day. What about this, Jeremy? What about one day, 100 years from now, that after 2-3 weeks of being pregnant, we could take that fetus out and bring it to maturity? Would you end abortion? I don't know. And a lot of abortions right now are pills. They take a pill. Anyway, I want to talk about a couple other things. What time are we at here, Jeremy? Where are we at now? So we're 37. Okay. So I want to just talk about, because this all gets back to rights, protection, and one of the things is that we talk about women's rights here, and she's all pissed off at the Supreme Court, but what about the baby, the fetus's rights? Is there any rights there? And that's one thing we should explore also. When and how and where does the fetus have any rights? I would love to see the Bill of Rights for the fetus, some kind of rights.
Well, you would have to acknowledge it. One, being human. Yeah. Two, being a life to begin with. Yeah. And there's too many people out there that wouldn't agree. This is a moot subject, man. Nobody's ever going to agree upon this where both sides are happy.
I don't say that. No, no, because you're assuming.
Because I never thought I'd get to the point where we're talking about
Jeremy,
9 months.
Jeremy, people,
9 months.
I understand
you can just kill the kid.
20 years from now, it could change. Don't ever say it, because people can never fly. You can never do this. Don't ever use the word never. Don't ever say never about anything, because anything's possible.
Never
okay?
say never again.
Don't ever say, because you could technology. But let me get back to this. I want to talk about this 14th Amendment, because this falls into a lot of things. What this woman talked about. She talked about gun rights. We talked about abortion. And so the 14th Amendment is a very special amendment, in my opinion. The amendment was made right after the Civil War, right? It was the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, right? 13th, 14th, 15th. And free the slaves, everybody's equal under the law. And the 14th Amendment said basically you have the right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of privileges. Okay, so let me just put this here. I want to go for the 14th Amendment. Just give me the thing here, because this is important for people to understand where we're coming from. So all persons born or naturalized in the United States, all persons, which is people, and subject to the jurisdiction there are citizens of the United States. Difference between persons and citizens. Keep that in mind. No state, this is for states now, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life. Now that's where you talk about the baby. I understand the woman.
Yeah,
You can't.
those first three words. Read them.
Immunity of citizens of the United States.
Section 1, the first three words.
All persons born or naturalized. Right. Okay. And
that's the one that they're going to cling to.
Right. Now, you're absolutely right. Now, this is where the argument is, and that's why I wanted to bring this up. It says all persons born or naturalized, because they were talking about abortion and whether or not a fetus has a right. Because here's the thing about that. If you're a woman and you take drugs or you take something bad, or you kill your baby, is that murder? And is that person a citizen? There's where our argument is right now. I'm trying to tell this woman who wrote this article, I'm not, look, the law is the law. I think an abortion, okay. And we talked about the 14th Amendment, but I want to go back to here where it says, I think that is a person. Somewhere along the line, that's a person. And I wanted to show the 15-week fetus. That's a human being. And what if she's wrong? I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe it's just this thing of blob. But to me, I'm 65 years old. It's hard for me to understand that that's not something that's human. That we uphold human life so, we cherish it so much. You know what I'm saying? So we deprive. So life, okay, liberty. That means free speech. That means you have the liberty to discuss what we're doing right now, and also property, without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of law. Anyway, I think that you made a good point. It's the born thing, and so there's where the rift is. Is the unborn, and do we talk about this? And this is the 14th Amendment, and they did that purposely. Let me see. Denying more male state. This is a little different. And Section 3. So I wanted to go here, and that's an interesting thing. And it goes on here. There's a whole bunch of sections here. This is all about Section 4, Section 5. But the big thing is, this is where the rub comes in. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are subject. So again, the baby, according to the 14th Amendment, has no rights. Okay. And so that's why, so I'm saying, okay, but I want people to say, we can't stop. You can't, and I agree with them. Abortion, it's not in the Constitution, but here, just because it says all persons born doesn't mean unborn doesn't have also, what do you call it? What's the word I'm going to use? Rights. There's other amendments, 11th Amendment, and I think the 10th Amendment, which says, listen, if it's not in the Constitution, you got the rights anyway. Yeah. But I think we should all stop and lower the rhetoric. Like, she's talking about the rapists, the accused rapists. Calm the rhetoric down. There are men and women in the Supreme Court who are trying to do the best they can. They're good people. That's number one. Number two is, we're not against abortion. We're not pro or for. But I just want people to understand, I think that we're killing human beings. And I think that abortion, unfortunately, is a necessary evil in our world right now. You're right. You don't want to have, if you get raped or the baby, you got an ectopic pregnancy. There's a lot of reasons. And also, there's natural abortions. They happen automatically in the first trimester. So I'm not crazy about it. And I think anybody who wants to, some of these politicians on the far side want to abolish it completely. I don't think that's right either. But to have it where, like in New Jersey, where it's open-ended, there's no time frame, and you don't need a consent if you're under 18. That's crazy. And you're absolutely right. I think we've gotten out of control where instead of encouraging in the schools and the young kids birth control and being responsible and maybe being celibate until they're older. I know people have tried that. We're like, you know what? Just let it friggin' fly. And if you get pregnant, we'll give you a pill and kill the baby. And it's going to get easier and easier because, you're not going to have to go to the machine and suck it out. You just take a pill. And I think that's, becoming more and more of the abortions. So you could get out of this, Jeremy.
Yeah.
And so, and I understand, where you're coming from about we need more education. But I just wanted to make a point about several things about this article. One is, it's again, liberal perspective. There's just hate there, and I'm telling her, listen, you got to relax. Maybe you should go to Jesus Christ and read what the Bible has to say. I don't know if she's what her religion is. I'm very sure she's a nice lady, and I don't want to denigrate her. I don't want to be nasty with her. But I just want to I want to put these young people to understand. Hey, this is a human being. Somewhere along the line, it gets a soul. So I mean, what the funny thing is? I see patients that come to me that are pregnant, and they break their ankle, they have an infection, and they're everything is about that baby. I mean, they will give their life. I mean, they'll go crazy. I mean, and they're worried about the baby dying, but then there's other people who just don't give a shit.
Well, that's a question for you though. When do you think the soul is in the baby?
I think conception. I think that, listen, if you believe in God, you believe in what I believe. That's a human being. It's a human being.
How long have parents been talking to the baby while it's still in the womb?
Oh yeah,
making it feel loved and all of that. So if they're doing that, then clearly people believe that
a lot of people
that
believe
fetus has emotions,
right,
and feelings.
Hey, listen, I'm very sure most people, not everybody, but most people who have an abortion, it's a traumatic thing in their life, and it's not that they want to do it. They maybe they have 5 kids and they don't need another one. It was an accident. I understand all that, but you know what? Then Jeremy. But then be conscious, get tested, and then get it done.
With you. I'm sure. I know there's people like that. In fact, I don't even have to guess about it. I just keep thinking back to that day. When they were overturning and all of this jazz, and I saw them just rejoice in celebration, like that's one thing I never thought where would be is just celebrating abortion, because that's what they were doing. They were celebrating abortion.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
and it's those people that I really worry about being in our country to begin with, because if you can celebrate the death of a baby, whether you think it's got a soul or not, it's still some sort of life.
Well, I don't think. See, I think what happens in the argument there, and I think I'm glad you brought this up, because I when I see those women out there and men, talking about it, I don't think they're focusing on the fetus at all.
No.
They're focusing on their rights.
And their inconveniences.
Right. But don't say it's but they're.
You said it earlier.
No, but it's, I know, but I don't want to go. I don't want to degrade it to inconvenience. It's their right, their body, their right. So they're like, and then when
I think they hide behind that.
Well,
and really, it's inconvenience. I mean, that's how people are, aren't
well,
they?
if they're that superficial, that's pretty sad.
A lot of people are.
But if they, I could respect if
the ones twerking on the hill are superficial as shit.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know that. Listen, I could. Don't assume that because you don't know those people. That's like that. Just as bad as them assuming that you're a white supremacist.
I saw their actions.
I understand that,
and
but
that's what my judgment's based on.
All right. Well, walk in their shoes. But my point is that I'm trying to walk a fine line here. I think that it's they get go to my webpage, go to my because this dovetails into this. So here's the definition of liberty. Okay, we talk about life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. This is in the 14th Amendment. So we are afforded liberty. Look what liberty says: the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one ways of life, behavior, or political views. And so, behavior and life. So is having your body, it's your abortion, right? It's your body. But here's the thing. We talk about this all the time, Jeremy. We talk about this all the time. When it hurts somebody else, then your rights should be maybe reduced.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Like number 2 says, and I agree with you. Yeah, individuals should enjoy the liberty to pursue their own interests and preferences.
Right,
but
right.
that also says a lot of them are going to do it just by how inconvenience.
Now, think about this.
what
Think
that
about
says.
this. Think about this. You have a man involved too, and he has no say in the matter. I don't think there's any law where if you want to have an abortion, you don't have to have the male involved. That's number one. Number two is you can have an abortion without the parents being involved if you're under 18. So think about this. In the state of New Jersey, I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure you could sign a consent to have an abortion. You don't need your parents under 18. Yeah. But you can't sign the consent for your baby. Well, they did pass a law, so now you can. But because then you're emancipated. But you can't have a surgery done. You can't own a car. You can't vote. But you could have an abortion. And so
and they don't have to inform the parents about it.
No, So my point is because they don't need consent.
See, and that's another end of this whole thing.
Or even if they do tell the parents, they can still have it because kids can still have it.
This is another. This goes to my argument earlier. When we remove the parents from the equation, okay, we're also removing education from the children because they don't get that. They don't have to listen to their parents. They can go sneak off and get an abortion whenever they feel like it, and not just in abortions, for anything.
Get rid of this. Get me out of here.
Blockers and stuff like that.
Right.
But when you remove the parents, that's it. It all crumbles.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to go. Here's the next thing because we're going to dovetail into this. Mm-hmm. So I'm driving down the road in Bayville. I see one of the signs. Advertisement, billboard. Mm-hmm. It says, "Are you struggling with addiction and pregnant?" It says, "Are you struggling?" It's right down in Bayville. You could go look at it. I should take a picture of it. Are you struggling with with addiction and pregnancy?
They don't seem to go together.
No, you're a drug addict. You got pregnant.
Oh, all right. Well, that's okay.
What do you mean they don't go together?
No, I mean because normally, do you have drugs? Are you pregnant?
What they're doing, it's an advertisement.
Yeah. No, I understand the advertisement.
The advertisement is for now. Listen, if you're addicted to drugs and you unfortunately get pregnant,
okay,
come on, we'll get rid of the baby for you,
right?
Or maybe we'll help you with the drugs. I don't know, but it's okay. So now it's all instead of saying because right now the drug addiction in this country is out of hand. The amount of overdoses is out of hand. Why? Because you have open borders. The stuff's coming up. Nobody gives a shit. The police aren't arresting anybody. Mm-hmm. But so there's a billboard now. So think about how wrong that is. It says, "Are you battling addiction and pregnant?"
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a sign that says, "Are you pregnant?" They put it
I'm
together
on
now.
My way, Mike. I'm on my way to becoming a grumpy old bastard.
They put it together now.
I'm telling you that now.
Now, how about and then the next sign is going to be, next billboard is going to be, "Are you pregnant? Are you under drugs? Do you have do you have problems with your gender identification?" And then I don't know where it's going to go. But my point is that it's sad. Yeah. And you make a good point. The parents are not there. We're not the kids. They don't believe. I mean, there's no religion. There's no background. We're corrupt. This society is going down the shitter.
If you're lining up dominoes,
we're going down the shitter. I mean,
hear this analogy out. If you're lining up dominoes because you plan on building this whole thing and you're going to eventually tip them over, right? But then somebody comes in and says, "Yeah, well, you can't have this domino." Throws it aside, and this one, and this one, and this one. And so they remove parents from the equation. They remove this from the equation. And then you try to tip them over. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. Everything falls apart.
Well, it's a nanny state. We're going to take care of everything.
Yeah.
Fuck the parents. We're going to take care of everything.
They can't take a shit. They can't take care of shit now.
No, listen, with this election, you wait to see how bad this country gets. But anyway, so now let's dovetail. Because I said, now pregnant, don't worry about it. 10 weeks, 11 weeks, 15. No, you're pregnant 24 weeks. New York State, it's 24 weeks, and then after that, which is what, 6 months. And then after that, if you're if you get a doctor, there's a medical problem, don't worry about it. Now, if you're addicted to drugs, I don't know. Should you have the baby? I guess we'll abort it. Maybe that's a good reason to have an abortion. So what happens if you weren't a drug addict? Now you're going on 24 weeks of pregnancy, and you happen to start doing drugs. Well, we got to get rid of that baby, or maybe the drugs will get rid of it. So now let's go to the next one. You're gonna love this one. So this is the famous city, brotherly love, Philadelphia, which just voted.
John Fetterman in.
And
A dead representative is from Pennsylvania was voted in.
And Josh Shapiro, who's very, very liberal. All right, so let's go here. So this is the new drug it says here. It's a horrifying drug called, now, Trank Dope. TRANQ, and then dope, DOPE. An animal tranquilizer, and it's spelled XYLAZIN. Xylene, which has been linked to severe wounds and amputations.
Xylazine.
Has been detected in nearly 40 states. So I'm just going to give you a little here. After 2 years, so blah, 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 this woman, this time around, Philadelphia's secret opioid supply was infiltrated. So this is, after 2 years of sobriety, this person began using drugs again. This time around, Philadelphia's street opioid supply was infiltrated with TRANQ, trans like tranquilizer, or trans dope, a mixture of fentanyl mixed, and a mixture of fentanyl mixed with the animal tranquilizer. The high was non-existent, she said, replaced by hours of unconsciousness, followed by intense withdrawal. And when she wanted to come off it only a couple months later, the detox was even worse. Great.
Super.
Great. Yeah. Great.
Swell.
So I have no idea what they're in for. They have no idea. So this is all going on in Philadelphia. And these people voted these people back in there, and it's going to continue on. They're going to keep dying. The drugs are pouring in. And here, look, while Philadelphia, I didn't, this is not me. This is written here. This is news. This is what? Vice, VICE News. Yeah. Hey, this is done November 15th, 2022.
Oh, so this is relatively new. Yeah.
Well, it's today. Relatively new.
This was posted today.
It was just born today. Wow, Philadelphia is the epic center, but Biden's doing a great job. I was just wanting that the what do you call it? The comedian. Biden's doing a good job. Listen to the experts. In the meantime, the stuff is pouring in this country. They're dying left and right. They're killing each other left. Anyway, while Philadelphia is the epicenter for this drug, data exclusively shared with Vice News shows the drug has spread to at least 39 states. But doctors, governments, and the rehab industry are struggling to cope with its noxious effects. Well, my question is, what happened with fentanyl? It's not good enough for these drug addicts. Now they need, how much?
They just made them look like sweet tarts. We can't
what,
do any
what,
better.
What are these? This is so bad. I pine for the days when people just were heroin addicts. Good old heroin.
Thank God we got men like John Fetterman on the job. That should fill us all with some.
He
hope.
Ain't gonna get. Well, they're not gonna give
Mike,
a shit.
What are you saying here? What
okay,
are you saying?
so
you
this
extremist.
so this drug is a veterinarian sedative that is non-FDA approved for human consumption, but it's not federally scheduled, making it easy to purchase online. So you can purchase this online.
Unbelievable.
It was detected in Puerto Rico's drug supply in the early 2000s, but has since made its way to the northeast United States, where it appears to be most prevalent in drug deaths in Philadelphia.
And Pennsylvania.
So most commonly found in bags of drugs sold as fentanyl and heroin. This, how do you pronounce it, Jeremy? Xylazine was found in 90% of dope samples tested in Philadelphia 2021. And it's spreading across the rest of the country. blah, 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 blah. So I think that this year you're probably going to have about 130 drug overdoses in the United States. And that's not having, and that's not talking about all the people who are all screwed up, not working, not producing.
Well, that dead guy they voted into Pennsylvania better pull his weight. I'll tell you. They got a hell of a problem over there with this stuff.
So the rehabs, they're just talking about here how to deal with it and blah, blah, blah. So the FDA issued an alert noting that healthcare professionals should provide support measures and consider screening for the drug. Go on and on and on and on and on. And, you guys could read the article here. I'm almost to the point like you, Jeremy. I'm like, you know what? Kill yourselves.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
You want to have abortion on demand? Go. Not. You're high on this shit. You're pregnant. Yeah. Go. Hey. Kumbaya.
It's a full-time
kumbaya.
job
Kumbaya.
to divert you from imminent death if you're on that track. I'm sorry. If you're on that track, counselors haven't found you. You can blame the system. The system, I'm sure, has a lot to be blamed for. But, common sense, you were grown, you were raised. If your parents were there and had any kind of control over you when you were a kid, you were taught, certain things that showed you what is right and what is wrong. But they want to remove parents altogether and take that with them. I don't know, Mike.
Well, here's the thing. They get wounds and everything. You could shut this off. But I think it's pretty good. Here's the thing. I trained in Philadelphia back in the 80s, and there was a lot of young kids were coming in. They had ulcers on their arms and their legs because they were shooting up. And it was mostly the black community. It was they were my age. I'm sitting there going, this is terrible. So you get back to this is terrible. And why are we at this point? Why are people pushing abortion on demand until the 9 months? Why are we so many drug addictions? Why we have now, it went from 60 to 70. Now it's up to 130. Why we have more suicides, younger people? What's going on? And I'm sitting here going, you got women, people who are, the justices are scumbag. People this that. We got to get a grip here because I can tell you right now. We're not going to make it in this country, and we're not going to make it if everybody. I mean, the drug addiction.
See, this is how I feel.
Yeah,
this is how I feel.
And for how do you fix it? Everybody's like, oh, we got to throw money at it. I mean, the poor. There's you got to. You said you got to start in the soul, the spirit, the spiritual. People got to reach out. I mean, I can tell you right now.
We got to get them back into churches. We got to get them back into the family unit.
Right.
Remember how important the family unit was?
And you got to, and these people, and you got to stop. Like this girl who wrote this article. Stop writing this shit where you're inflaming everything. Stop with the hate. Stop. Here, listen. I have a black. My granddaughter is half black. I love her. I give my life for her.
Yeah.
I don't see the racist shit. I love people, from the South America. They're Christians. I love them. I mean, we're not racist. Most people in this country are nice.
Yeah, but you remove all this stuff. What do you have to complain about anymore?
But what happens? Right.
Nothing.
Especially, and I tell you what, I think it's. I got to say the left. They get people so fucking depressed.
Yes, they do.
The shit they throw out there. And you know what? Even like with Trump, he's this, he's that, all this, In the meantime, he's one of the most constitutional presidents we ever had. He did great for this country.
Yes, sir.
But now you like him, now he's an asshole. It doesn't matter. What my getting is that we're in a tumble. We're going, and forget about, what we're voting and all this. You better step back. I can tell you what, God's going to come down and he's going to... I mean, I don't know. In the United States, it's sad because there's always been corruption. I understand that. There's always been bullshit, abortion, all of that. But as a society, we had a moral compass. Remember, like when the Apollo 13 astronauts were in space and everybody said pray, and the Congress prayed. When's the last time Congress prayed for anything? You think they would do that today?
No.
No,
it wouldn't even occur to them.
And what we're going towards is this China. I always say the Chinese model, and that's no freedom of religion, no freedom from speech, no freedom from fear. What you have freedom of is you'll get a bowl of soup, some slop, a shack to live in. Well, basically, you'll either be like a prisoner or a slave, and that's where it's going. And we're losing our sovereignty. We're losing our citizenship, and it's little by little by little by little.
We're giving it up.
We're giving it up.
Over.
We're giving it up, and little by little. Let's pack the Supreme Court. Let's do this. Let's do that. Because you know what? It's inconvenient for me, like you said, to have a fucking baby. Yeah. I'm a knock it out. You know what? I want to do my drugs because I can't deal with
your conveniences. See, that's the thing. Their conveniences are their interests. That's it, and that's where that definition of liberty said. It's to seek out your interests and all of that. Well, your convenience is your interest. I mean, when we look for a new house, we like to see what stores are nearby. Oh, there's a convenience store at the corner. Fantastic. I'm going to buy this house. That's how people are. Here,
put this here on just on my thing. This is just a picture here. I mean, irreversible overdose, robbery, sex assaults. This is Philadelphia. Now, Jeremy, it's the people, but you know what? It's the government. I mean, this is Josh Shapiro. I mean, listen, I don't know the guy. He might be the greatest guy in the world, but I don't understand. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm old geezer. But you can't. This is no way to live. This is not right for those people. We got to give them, money. You got to. Why are we so depressed? Why are we using so much drugs? Why are we killing each other? Why? Somebody has to answer that, or ask the question first. I got a billboard in Bayville saying, "Hey, if you're a drug and pregnant, come on, we're going to fix you." Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully, they'll do both: take care of the drugs and the pregnancy. But we're getting crazy.
Or they just perpetuate it.
I don't know. But my point is though is that I was watching, and that's what I don't understand. I was listening to the guy Mastriani, who was running for governor of Pennsylvania. It seemed like he wanted to fix this stuff, but they didn't vote him in. Now I don't know. Maybe because of abortion. I don't know. But my point is that okay, guys, the election's over. Josh Shapiro, Fetterman, fix this. Fix this. But no. But here's the thing: fix this.
Yes, that's what I'm going to say.
Okay, all right. Now you're the big. You guys are in now. Fix this because this is crazy.
With everything that's gone down over the last couple of years, where are values now? What are they? Do they even exist?
I can tell you though. You're Mexican. I'm not going to Philadelphia.
I'm not going to Philadelphia.
I'm not, and I don't even want to go to New York.
You know what I'm always reminded of when I go to Philadelphia? I'm reminded of National Lampoon's Vacation. Okay,
yeah.
when they're driving through a really bad neighborhood and they hear a gunshot, and Griswold says, "Roll them up," and they all quickly roll up their windows in their car.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like when I go to Philadelphia.
Well, I wouldn't go there. I mean, I have seminars and everything. I would never go there anymore. Not until I saw this 10 years ago. It was starting to go down the tubes. You got to have law and order. But anyway, let's just recap. So, here's the deal. I put that article up for a lot of different reasons. Mm-hmm. One is that, there seems to be just so much, I don't know, hate out there.
Yeah, and that was a good article to show because,
right.
Yeah,
and I'm not criticizing her. I mean,
there was a lot of ugliness hidden in it.
But what I want to say to these people who write these articles, first of all, listen, we're not the enemy. We're American citizens just like you.
Sure.
We understand women's had their rights. We're all about rights. But I just want people to step back and people who want abortion on demand and everything, just think you might be killing a human being.
Right.
That person, that might be a real person. Okay. I'll say, listen, I understand 15 weeks is fine. She's arguing about 15 weeks. I don't agree with states that say no abortion. I think that's crazy too. Because, they say except for medical issues,
special circumstances.
I mean, life is what it is, and I think that we should be encouraging adoptions. Right.
But when I was a kid, they did that.
Yes.
They don't do that anymore.
Right. Listen, it was a big stigma too back in the day when you had a baby. But abortion, wasn't really that. I don't think it was pushed as much. I think adoption was.
Back then, also when I was a kid, when you were watching your TV at night and it became 10 o'clock, you would get the message, 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah.
Because it was important to us all.
Right.
As a people,
right.
that we keep our children
safe. Jeremy, I think that it is this too. I bet you there's a lot of people would take these babies, but you have to go through the 9 months of pregnancy.
Yeah.
And that's a big commitment. But I bet you on the other side, there won't be as many unwanted babies. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine a situation where you get pregnant, you're a young girl, you know, your boyfriend, you're in high school, whatever, and there's somebody waiting for that baby. You could hook up with somebody, and they're going to take that child and take care of it. Wouldn't that be a better alternative than an abortion?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I'm just saying, and I don't think anybody should be forced to do that. That's why I'm saying, okay, keep the abortion. You know, because I worry about trashing on women's rights also. But remember, there's a man involved, and there's the baby. The next thing is about the liberty and unborn. You know, so our laws are. I mean, that's why I wouldn't go crazy. I mean, it's, you know, the 14th Amendment is very important, but the 14th Amendment gives you the ability to have an abortion. I mean, it's not real clear. It says born. And I understand that. But there's other amendments. I mean, there's other that are saying, well, you have rights. But then again, life, then you can't have it both ways. If you're going to, and that's why I say, I think you do have, there is nothing in there to prevent you from having an abortion. Yeah. But the 14th Amendment also says life, liberty, and pursuit of property, which means states and the federal government can't take, you know, my life, and I should be able to protect my life. Yeah. Which means, you know, a firearm.
And as for me, I just feel like if we're going to talk about abortion and whether or not to have them, why can't we talk about preventing them altogether? You know, more than we're doing, because we're not doing it. We're not doing it enough.
Well, Jeremy, you know, getting back to this whole thing about drugs and abortion, and you know, these elections that went through. You know what the topics were that I saw that they talked about?
Go ahead. What?
Abortion, and, you know, unlimited abortion, right?
Yeah.
Having weed, smoking pot, and this thing about democracy is in jeopardy. Democracy. This is what stupid. Biden and Barack. And I sit there and I go, well, what do you mean democracy is in jeopardy? Why? Because you can't have an abortion at 9 months. That's threatening democracy. What if you're wrong and that child is an entity? Then what about democracy then? You took that right away, the civil right from that fetus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we dogs have more rights. Animals have more rights than the fetus does.
It's true. It is true.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is,
if I went next door and I murdered the dog that's barking and keeping me up,
yeah, you'd probably go to jail.
I'd go to jail, right? yeah. But you know,
no. So you know, the thing is, that was the big ticket issues, you know, and this democracy thing, like, oh, the chief justices. Well, in my opinion, I can't argue the law. I'm not a lawyer, but they threw it back to the states. So basically, they give the people the right. That's giving the people the right. As far as gun, that's giving the people the right. It's not taking rights away. I got the Second Amendment. It says the government should not infringe on my right. So I look at it as a right. They get upset about that. The judicial gave people the right to carry a gun. Mm. Where's the loss of democracy there? They gave, you know, here's the thing that I think we're losing democracy. I'm a citizen of the United States. You're a citizen of the United States. You're sovereign. You let 10 million people, 8 million illegal people in this country, you wash down, diminish my citizenship. Right? Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, what about that? What about having people who are not citizens vote here?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you talk about democracy. What about all the drugs that are coming in, and people are dying left and right? They're never going to have a choice. They're never going to have a chance at democracy.
Here's the thing: if Trump was in office, right, and he opened up the borders, you know, had a whim, and he opened up the borders and let all these people in, and he was going to put them all into blue states. Okay, he's going to move them out and ship them all out. Would they be as cool about it as they are now? No.
Jeremy, we're going to end this soon, but, you know, I just watched this thing in what do you call it, Arizona. And you know what? I could care less who, you know, I mean, like, I'm not there, and I understand it's a governor race, but when it takes a week to get ballots in, I mean,
Oh,
that, the system is broke.
You're being gentle with a weak too.
The
by the way.
So anyway, we're getting back to we need to get a moral bearing back in this country, and I think that we've had this experiment. Started with Barack Obama. You had what do you call it? Identity politics. Tribalism. You got this global thing. And one thing I used to talk to a buddy of mine who was a Bernie Sanders, a Bernie head, and I kind of like. I mean, he's a communist out the ass, but he's a populist, and I kind of like a lot of things that Bernie Sanders talked about. Believe it or not, and I sit here and I go, you know what? We are special in this country. This is an experiment that may fail.
It looks like it's not doing
no,
great.
Well,
I'm not saying it's failing,
but it's hard.
But it doesn't look great.
Listen, a constitutional republic with citizens is unique in the whole world, unique in the time frame. In other words, not just today, but for all times. Nothing. I mean, you've had some close. Greek, the Roman, right? Even Europe. I mean, we have. It's a very unique thing, and you go to Arlington National Cemetery. There's 400,000 people buried there, who gave their lives for this freedom. The Civil War. For people who don't remember it, 1865 it ended. 600 to 800,000 men, women, children, some too, but mostly men died. Defending and fighting for the rights of black people. Because you say, it wasn't about that. Well, then, right after it, they passed 3 laws, 3 amendments. Free the slaves, everybody's equal underneath the law, 14th Amendment, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And, of course, the 14th Amendment has, other things in there. My point being is this is unique. It's an amazing, the Founding Fathers were, they were sinners. They were, they weren't perfect, and they had slaves. But look where this experiment has gone, and we're at a crossroads right now, no doubt about it. We've been there before, and I'm optimistic. I think we're going to get through this, but we have to slow down with the rhetoric and really start not getting crazy and getting back to more of a, moralistic. That there's limits. There's limits. You have to have some limits. You cannot have no limits, and we need to start thinking about what's important in our life. Look at around us. Your kids are dying left and right of drug overdoses. There was just another shooting in the college. Get rid of the guns is not, why are we doing this? What, in the inner cities, it goes on and on and on. The corruption, the nepotism, the media, the whole thing. We really need to get more spiritual. I think that's what you were saying, and we need to teach our kids, what's right, what's wrong.
Bring them back to the church. COVID kind of screwed us and took a lot of people away from God, and they forget and they get complacent, especially when they get to stay home all the time. Let's get them back in the church. Let's do a rally call. God's calling. We're waiting for you.
It's funny. I was listening to this one show I watched. I don't want to. It's really good. And he's a professor, and he talks about heavy duty, physics. I mean, the cosmos, everything. And he was talking about, I got his thing here.
Can't remember. Okay.
It's a great web page. I have it. I think it's called Cool Stuff, and he talks about a lot of different things. And he was talking about, communication, and can it go, can we get communication going across different, what do you call it, platforms. But what he said, though, is he doesn't believe in miracles. He was talking about miracles. And I don't know if it was tongue in cheek, but what I thought is interesting is that a lot of people don't believe in God anymore. And, they believe in this universe, and they think about the metaverse. And I think that's okay, but for most people, you have to have, we ask the fundamental questions that we all ask, no matter what you are. And the fundamental questions of life are, why are we here? what happens when we die? What's our purpose? They're still here, and you know you got to answer them, or you go crazy. I mean, you know, and you know, scientists is trying to decide it. They don't even know how big the universe is. They don't even, you know, black holes. So you have, so the Egyptians, you know, everybody. You have gods. You have God. We don't know for sure, but I can tell you right now, the Bible and Jesus Christ, it gives you some good advice.
Yeah.
Even if you don't buy into it 100%, it gives you some good advice. And if you know, I believe that when we die, we go to a better place. If you know, the Lord says, you know, we'll be in a better place. You could be, I don't care who you are. Nobody knows if that's real or not. But you know what? What's the end of the universe? How big is the universe? When did everything start? You could go crazy with all this stuff. So my point is
Well,
that
even if you don't believe in heaven or an afterlife, we are all energy, and science does say that energy never ends; it becomes something else. So even if you don't believe, maybe you're an atheist, you could at least cling to that. You know.
well, I think that if you believe in God, a lot of these things could happen. I think this is the answer. I mean, in other words, I don't know where else to go. You know, I don't know how we're going to fix this country or the world. I mean, you know, you look at the whole place. I mean, you got Korea, you got China. I mean, there's terrible things that go on. People are starving to death in India. You know, it goes on and on and on. It's a crazy place, but there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good. So I think we should end it with this, and I think we should say that, hey, listen, you know, let's stop the hate. Let's have the love, right, Jeremy?
Right.
How about that? A
100%,
love,
buddy.
a hug a tree. Remember we used to say hug a tree?
Hug a tree. I used to hug
Remember
trees when
that?
I was a kid. I would hug them.
Remember that, hug a tree?
I have actually asked. I asked people, my friends or whatever. I even asked Maggie. This was a few weeks back. Have you ever hugged a tree? And she was like, she looks at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, she's like, no.
And I'm all for
And
it. If
I
you
said,
want,
you should.
if you want to marry a tree, you can marry a tree.
If you identify as a tree,
You could identify it. That's
identify
fine
as a
too.
tree.
We're cool with that. You know, and just to say, you know,
Just beware of dogs.
right. And you know, people out there, oh, you know, we're white supremacists. Listen, I like, for me, like gay marriage. Hey, get married. I don't care. You know, my thing is don't hurt anybody.
If you're a tree, beware of dogs and people who
and
identify as
tree.
dogs.
Right. You know, my thing is that, you know, you don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to be violent.
No.
And unfortunately, and I feel bad for these people who are dying of drug overdoses, who are you know, these young kids. There's kids who are shooting each other. They're 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. They have their whole lives. These inner city kids, they might have been, you know, cure cancer. It's sad. It's sad where we're going. And this is nothing new. We've had it, like, you know, back in the 60s, you know, remember the Puerto Rican gangs and the Italian gang. I mean, the violence in this country and the world has always been there, right? And you know, we just got to, sometimes you have to, you know, sit back and look at people who, you know, been around for a while and take some advice. I'm telling you right now, go to Christ. Go to Christ. It's a good thing to do. I don't want to make this show into a, you know, but I think it's a good idea. Jeremy, what else do you want to say?
I just want to say that if you want more information about Dr. Michael Kachmar and all the things he does, please go to Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center.com. And if you want to send us an email, you can do so by going to Dr. Kachmar at iCloud.com. That's DrKachmar at iCloud.com. And please, folks, remember to share our shows. It gets people, you know, more people find us that way, and you're going to help us out. It doesn't really take too long either. And please like and subscribe so you can be notified when we do post a new show.
Right. We're going to try to get some, like I said last time, some videos of some of the surgery we do and everything. We're going to get a little bit more. But, you know, this article came up. It just came out now. And I think that because of everything that just went down with the elections and everything.
Sure.
And listen, stop the hate. Let's try to look at others' opinions. That's why I say with abortion, I'm looking at the other side. But we want to make sure that we, you know, key down the hate and the rhetoric and be more, what's the word I want to use? Happy and accommodative and good. Look at other people's perspective.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah, how does that? Can you do the thing? Live long.
Can do it, yeah.
Let me see. There you go.
Live long
Li-
and prosper.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you, Jeremy. Take us
care,
out.
guys.